Hello book lovers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria and this is Biblicore and Mint. And if you're watching this on April 10th, 2025, that means that it is the 100th day of the year, which means it is the 100th day of my book buying ban. I can't believe I got to 100 days. I have tried to start a book buying ban and have failed a few times, but this is the furthest I've gotten in this book buying ban. And I am planning on sticking to it for the rest of the year, so I have 265 days left as of the day that I am posting this video. I obviously recorded it ahead of time because work and life were bound to get in the way, and spoiler alert, they did. But yeah, I wanted to say a little bit of a thank you for sticking with me through this journey, whether you found me on TikTok or found me on YouTube. We have a small little community here, and it's been fun to just chat with people and feel like I'm staying accountable to a goal, even though nobody is keeping, I don't think anybody cares, but I care. So that's where we're at. In this video, I am going to be going to my public library, not for the first time. I have been there a few times, but I have never checked out a book physically from them. I do check out ebooks and audiobooks through Libby, but I've never checked out a book physically from this library. So I thought that that would be a fun no book buying activity that I could do for this video to celebrate getting to 100 days of not buying books. I will meet you at the library. Hello, welcome to my public library. This isn't my first time here. We're currently in the fiction section. I actually want to go to the new book section. It doesn't mean that it's a new release, it's just a new book that they got in. I like to go there first to see what they have. So we're going to check out that area first, and then we'll come back to the fiction section and see what we can find. I don't really have a plan for what I want to get today. Okay, let's go. We are now in the YA section, which means we are in immediate danger, and I didn't realize it until I got here. I'm definitely gonna have to measure myself. I'm currently deciding because I get I think it's a 3-week checkout period. I think you can extend your hold past the 3 weeks, the 21 days, if nobody has placed a hold on them. If I check out books today, realistically, my max should be 3 or 4 books so that I could get through them all in the next 3 weeks. I think I'm gonna pick one book to take from the YA section, maybe 2. We'll see what happens at the end, but let me show you what they have. I've managed to pick 2 very large books. So now I'm in the adult fiction section, hoping to find, fingers crossed, something that is not the start of a series. So a standalone book that is 300-ish pages, no more than 400. If it's sub 300, even better. I know that that's a tough ask. So 300 to 400 pages. Adult fiction standalone. We'll see what stands out to me. I legit just turned around and saw this, Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. The only one left is also here, which is the only Riley Sager book I've read. It was okay. It was good. I think I finished it all in 2 or 3 sittings, and I think that the ending was a little too much. I think that if we cut maybe 30 or 40 pages off of the ending, it would have been a pretty good book. The twists were great. I just think that it got taken a little bit too far. So I'm interested in giving him another try. Maybe middle of the night might be a little bit more my speed. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't heard amazing things about this book. I do, however, really like the cover. This like fluorescent green against a really muted backdrop, and the font, it kind of speaks to me on an aesthetic level.
The checkout process was so quick, Maria barely had time to hit record before she was walking out with a stack of new books to read. She did take them to a cozy little cafe where she spent some time reading and pretending to be the main character. Enjoy the 15 seconds of footage she managed to film before getting too shy to keep recording in public.
New location unlocked. The floor. So we're back. Went to the library. Here we are. I wanted to chat a little bit about the books that I picked, why I picked them, give you a little bit of a synopsis, and this is kind of like my April TBR, I guess. If you haven't seen my January and February reading wrap up, I mentioned there that I'm planning on doing bi-monthly reading wrap-ups, so every other month, because I feel like I don't read enough in a month to really like fill up a video, so I'm just doing it every other month. But anyways, let's talk about the books that I got from the library. First off is Pride and Prejudice in Space. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and if you're not familiar with the story, the original novel is by Jane Austen. It follows the Bennet family. They're like a bunch of sisters and kind of like how they're getting on in society. That's the easiest way that I can think of to explain it. Also, I haven't read that book in many years, but I have definitely watched the movies, all the adaptations. Well, not all of them, because I know that there's older ones, but the 1995 like TV show adaptation, the 2005 movie adaptation, which is chef's kiss. And I've also watched and read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which is just like a really fun adaptation. So when I saw Pride and Prejudice in Space was available at the library, I wanted to pick it up. What really sold me on picking this up was how heavy it is. This is a heavy book. And when I flipped through it, I saw that it had a bunch of really fun illustrations and a lot of like unique chapter pages and stuff like that. And that makes sense because the author, Alexis Lampley, is actually the co-owner of Nerdy Inc. and apparently a really big Pride and Prejudice fan. So she wrote this in space rendition of the story and illustrated it really beautifully. So I'm excited to get into it. It's a futuristic retelling and it includes like planets and spaceships, and it's located in the Londinium solar system. So instead of like London society, it's the Londinium solar system. Interplanetary travel is the norm, and I think Elizabeth Bennet, which is our main female protagonist, designs spaceships, if I gathered that correctly from the description. It's around 400-ish pages, but a lot of it includes illustrations. So I'm hoping to finish this actually this month. I think this is going to be a really fun, quick read for me, and I'm excited to get into it. So yeah, that is Pride and Prejudice in Space. Next up is Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which, although it is thicker than Pride and Prejudice in Space, like actually a little thicker, it's lighter, which tells me that the stock of the pages for Pride and Prejudice in Space is so much thicker. I know very little about what this book is about, and the synopsis did very little to illuminate that for me. Marissa Meyer is a new to me author, and this is going to be a new series to me as well. Rachel Catherine highly recommends this. I saw that she read it all. I think she finished it last year. I picked up Renegades because it just spoke to me. Sometimes things speak to you, right? You get it. Sometimes you kind of just are in the mood to pick something up. And although I did not want to start a new series, I was like, whatever, this one is one that I'm interested in. From what I understand, it is a story of superheroes and villains, which is not a genre trope that I explore very often, if at all. I think besides like the Marvel movies and stuff, I think the only other like superhero villain focused media that I've consumed is like The Boys, that show, or other Marvel shows. But in literature, I don't really think that I've leaned into that part of like the fantasy sci-fi genre. So I'm excited to read something a little bit different within a genre that I actually really love. And I'll pop a picture up of the cover on screen because the plastic actually makes it a little hard for me to show off what the cover looks like. But I'm getting kind of Daft Punk vibes from this guy on the side. Daft Punk / Tron vibes. I'm actually a really huge Tron fan, so I'm excited to see what this world looks like, futuristic and stuff like that. We have a lot of futuristic picks this month, I guess. And finally, we have Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I did start reading it. When I left the library, I went to a little cafe that I was interested in exploring, as opposed to Renegades, which had a very short synopsis that kind of left more questions than anything. Middle of the Night has a really long synopsis that actually tells us a lot about what's going on in the story. Our main character, Ethan Marsh, experienced something really traumatic when he was a kid. He was camping in his backyard with his best friend Billy, and he woke up and Billy was gone. And this was when he was like 10 years old. So we are getting his perspective 30 years later. He's back at home. His parents have moved out. They downsized and they moved to Florida. And Ethan now lives in his childhood home. And he's had insomnia issues ever since. He's been to therapy for it. It's clearly like affected his life. And now that he's back home, that is just ramped up. He's struggling. And so far, I'm like 2 chapters into it, and there's definitely like something mysterious going on that we don't know if it's Ethan that's a little bit of an unreliable narrator and seeing things, or if it's actually something like kind of supernatural. That's what I've gotten out of it so far. Unfortunately, I haven't kept on reading this book because when I got home and checked my Libby, I did see that I got Rebel Witch. I have been waiting to get my hands on that book since February, since it came out on February 18th. If you thought that I wasn't going to immediately start reading it, you're wrong. You gotta know something about me, Heartless Hunter. I loved that book. And just while we're here, I'll let you know what other books are on my radar for this month. I have Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven, which just came through on Libby for me, and None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I'll tell you a little bit about both of those. So Our Infinite Fates has been likened to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is one of my all-time favorite books. It's about these 2 characters, Evelyn and Arden, I believe are their names, and they have known each other throughout all of their lifetimes, but they've also killed each other in each one. And I think that Evelyn remembers every lifetime, but Arden doesn't. So that's a little intense, and also already tells me that it's going to be really angsty. I need to like emotionally prepare myself for that one. I really hope that we get a good ending, because if we don't, I think I don't think I'll be okay. I think that my plans for like reading will be just down the drain if we don't get a good ending with that book. But I'm really excited to read it. That idea of like a love spanning time has always been one that intrigues me. Now, None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I know that I'm a little bit late to the game when it comes to reading this one, but it just wasn't on my radar when it was popular, and it is now. And I was able to get the ebook and the audiobook through Libby. I heard that the audiobook listening experience is actually better than reading it, because None of This Is True follows kind of like a podcast. And I like when there's a sort of mixing of media when it comes to books. I think books that have done that really well for me are Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, that followed like a documentary style, and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which included a lot of like interview snippets and drawings of maps and logs and scans of journals and stuff. So I like when a book kind of has that more immersive experience. Not that every book needs to be that way. The novelty of it is that it's not done often. But yeah, None of This Is True apparently follows a podcaster. Her name is Alex Summer. Alex is celebrating her birthday at a local pub, and she runs into someone who's her birthday twin, and they kind of like kiki over that. And then she ends up running into the woman again at her child's school. The woman's name is Josie, and she says that she's been listening to Alex's podcast and has a really really crazy story to tell her. Josie goes on to Alex's podcast and she interviews her and starts uncovering some like weird, dark secrets in Josie's past. But before she could get into it too much, Josie disappears. And then we're kind of just left with that and trying to figure out what is going on. So that's what the synopsis says. I don't know much about it. I don't want to know much about it because I kind of just want to be taken on a ride for that one. So here's my list. This is what I am hoping to read in April. Work is kind of winding down for me and I don't have as many like social obligations this month. So I'm hoping that this is a pretty good reading month, ramping up into the summer, which tend to be the months where I read a little more. So yeah, I've survived the first 100 days of this year-long book buying ban, and I'm still feeling really motivated to finish it. And part of that reason is you all for being here and for being part of my community and for making me feel like I need to inspire people. Even though, again, I don't think anybody really cares. I think we're all just here for the books, and that's okay. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
Wait, I have a surprise for you.
What is this?
It's a cake.
For me?
No, it's for your mom. Of course it's for you.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's to celebrate you making it through 100 days of your book buying ban.
Wow, I can't believe you remembered.
It's all you ever talk about these days. You tell anyone who would listen that.
Okay, that's enough. Should we light it? Should we make a wish? Let's do that.